Hello everyone, and welcome back to my Yamaha Thunder Lemon project. So far I've been quite harsh on this bike because I was catfished online, and it was posted as a beautiful middle-aged woman who just had lots of surgery done, had a little bit of MOT, and was working perfectly. So I set out on the 2-hour journey. So I bid accordingly. I bid $850, but I actually won it for $750. I set out on my journey. It involved walking to the underground to a long distance train for an hour, and then an Uber at the other end. And then I turn up, and what I had was nowhere near what it should have been, hence the term catfished. I trickled it home. It ran okay. It felt like it was running terribly at the time, but I didn't realise it had no X-up valve. So actually that is what happens, that's the way they run with no X-up valve. Trickled it home, and we've done the main bits to it at the moment. We straightened the steering. God, I already can't remember. We're cleaning up the frame. I'm going to continue cleaning up the frame today while the tank's off. And the rear brake was done, that's right. The rear brake's been fixed. So even though it doesn't feel particularly strong, it actually works perfectly. The bike skids. And some other bits and pieces. I've cleaned the air filter. That was quite dirty, so that's nice and clean now. And the oil's fresh. The oil was so low in it that I put in a whole litre actually, so it's practically new and fresh. So that's where we are at this stage. Today I've just doused this down even a bit, just to give it a clean. It's very dirty, and then I'm going to be putting the air filter back in and getting that bit sorted. I've looked at these fuel tubes. They're fine, they're not leaking, and the pegs tighten. Now I'm going to put some sort of rubber on here to make it more comfortable, and so it doesn't look so homemade. But the actual mechanism's nice and solid now. That's great. The panels are more solid, although this bit will never be perfect. Cable ties are hanging off this one, but we're going for safe, you know, rather than perfect. That's always the rule with me. Get it safe. Some bikes I do where I'm going perfect, but not always, not with a bike that I've paid 300 over the odds for. So that's where we are today. So I'm going to throw the air filter back in there. In fact, I'm going to be cleaning up the rest of the frame while I've got access to it there. So that's the next part. So as before, I'm going to be using some metal cleaner and a scotch pad, scouring pad. And I'm not going to be going heavy with it. I'm just going to be very light. And the rest of that should be under the tank. Let's go other side. There's not loads left on this bit. there's the petrol tank. So interesting, the tank fell off there and this pinhole became apparent. Somebody had filled it with filler, basic filler, and before they'd painted over it. And actually you can see all these chips where not really, you know, that's not really about it hitting the floor. That's about it being a bad paint job. So I've put in this specialist tank filler now, and that'll be sanded down and probably repainted eventually. Now, I've got two options with this bike at this stage. I could repaint it. I'm quite good with the matte colours. I could go matte black all over. That's definitely an option. All that would need is a bit of keying on most of the panel work, and then matte black. The problem then is this tank is it wouldn't be petrol proof. Anytime you spill petrol on a bit of matte paint, it basically rubs off. It cleans it. That's what it's for. Unleaded is a cleaner. It's a very strong solvent. I could get a leather bagster cover for the tank, but saying that, the rest of the paintwork is not terrible, so I could get maybe a blue bagster cover anyway for that tank. That could be the option. But anyway, like, you know, every time something else pops up, it's a proper bodge job that someone's done. I know the last guy wasn't necessarily a biker who owned this. I think someone stitched him up. I don't know what he paid for it, but someone stitched him up, and he had it sitting in his garden for a year, never rode it. So the problem isn't with the last guy. The problem's with the guy before him, being a really bodge job. And it's such a pain for someone like me, because you have to go right down into detail. I mean, even these fuel lines, it looks fine, it seems okay. I just feel like they should have used better ones. I'm not even sure that's a proper fuel line. I might need to change that. I have got spare here. Anyway, I'm going to continue. I'm going to throw the air filter. I'm going to give this a good clean, get rid of all that crap, and get the air filter back in, and then look at what's next. The indicators need looking at. I believe the right one just has a bulb issue, and the left one is in that bag down there. I don't know if that works or not, but then that's kind of it really. That should be MOTable, so it'll be about cleaning it after that. So air filter in, tank back on. So it's raining outside, so I've had to come back into the garage. The tank's on and secure now. That's good. I just need to kind of nip up a lot of these rear panels. I'm not sure what happened. Maybe the other side panel holds it together more. And then I'm going to be looking at the indicators. My thought is that the left indicator will just plug in and work. Maybe. Hopefully. Then I'm hoping the right one is just a bulb. So at this stage, we're not far off being MOTable. This still has an MOT for a month. Somehow, someone MOT'd this a year ago. And it's done no mileage since, so I would have thought it's a dodgy MOT somehow. Or just a really bad MOT tester. Yeah, and I'm not happy with that. I like my MOTs to be done properly. I like to know exactly what's needed. I like to come back, fix it, and bring it back to them and get it done properly. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, somebody's going to be buying a very reasonably priced bike that should be completely safe and completely usable. And that's kind of what I'm about. So, yes, so that's it for now. So I'm going to be throwing on the rear panel, and I'll get the seats back on, and I'll start looking at the indicators and see if the front left one's working at least. So again, sorry about the darkness here. That indicator I've plugged in. I'm just going to check to see if it works at all. So ignition on. Don't need the lights. Oh, fuel pump pumping away. Let's try the front left. Nothing. Rear left is on. Let me see if it's something to do with the wiring at all, or if the wires are the wrong way around maybe. Let's try that. Nope. So the last thing to try is check the bulbs. There may not even be a bulb in there. Okay, so I'm going to pop that open, have a look, see if there's a bulb in there, see if it's blown. So as you can see, there is a bulb in there. It was looked a little bit corroded, but nothing major. I've cleaned it up. Let's see again. Ah, we're back. Excellent. So that shows you there was a little bit of corrosion on the bulb, just where it would earth. I simply cleaned it up with the scouring pads and threw it back in. So that's great. We've got the front left indicator working there. I'm going to clean up all the crap around here where someone glued it in. Actually, this plate is what holds it in. So gluing it in, I don't know why they've done that. Unless something in here is broken. I can't see it is. So I'm going to try and get that back in a bit more sensibly. And then I'll look at the other side. So that indicator's on and secure now. Absolutely didn't need anything, did not need super glue. If you just know the method, there's a retaining plate on the back. You squeeze it through and it clicks, and then you put the retaining plate on, you screw it in. I bet now it don't work. Let's have a quick look. Excellent, so we got left indicators. I mean, it's highly unlikely that the right indicator is having the exact same problem. Let's just double check it. Let's mess with the wires a bit, give it a tap. Nothing, and the rear one's on. So let me whip this cover off and see what the bulb's doing. I don't know how well you can see there, but that bulb's blown. I may or may not have a spare. I'm going to have a little look. So I had a spare bulb. I'm just going to check that this one works. Great. So we're now, all indicators are back. That's good. That's excellent. From there, I'm going to button up the rear end again. Double check the oil again. I wanted to have another look at this exhaust because there's no connecting piece. I'm surprised. This end piece I thought would have had a connecting piece down here, and it doesn't. It's literally an all, well, I guess, yeah, the downpipe's all the way to the end. I'm still just a bit moany about the old X-up valve not being there. I wonder what sticker that was. I know it's an art can because it says there art. I don't know what the downpipes are. Anyway, yeah, so a bit of a clean up on the frame where I've been cleaning it. That will just be a wipe. Throw the rear end back together and just double check everything, see what's going on, double check the oil, fire it up, warm it up, see how it's doing. So here we are. It needs a good clean, but I'll give it a bit of a clean in a minute. I'm going to do a quick kind of pre-MOT check. All the basics. Make sure it's all okay. Then I'll give it a clean. Not that that's going to help. And I'll give it a short run. Make sure everything's working. I haven't checked things like the brake lights, high beam, horn. I don't even know if it has a horn. So, well, let's go through that actually. So let's do the indicators again. Let's go right indicators. Good. Good. Let's go left. Good. Good. Let's go normal front light and high beam. Good. 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 Flash. Good. Horn. Good. Let's go brake lights. So I can't see, but you can front. Good. Rear. I think that's on. Yeah. Good. and normal rear light, good. Other things, the exhaust might get a thing for being a bit loud. The light is what lights up the number plate under here, that's fine, that's normal. Reflector is there, you needed that. Tyres are good, rear brakes not the best but okay, and I'll give it a bit of a wipe and a clean and we'll see how it goes. I'm in two minds, shall I take this down to the jet wash or shall I just give it a hand clean? I think I'll just give it a hand clean for now. Nothing else to check really. Shocks seem fine, they're not leaking. I'm going to put a little bit of rubber over this lever here so it don't look so homemade. It is safe, secure, and it does work. Yeah, so I'll give it a bit of a clean, I'll sort that out and we'll come back and see how it's looking. So I'm giving it a bit of a clean, and as I go along I'm putting a bit of car wax over the paintwork, just to give it a little bit more protection. The paintwork, it isn't that bad at the back, it's actually quite good. So a little bit of a shine won't hurt it at all. So I'm going to put a bit of car wax all over it to help it, give it a little bit more protection, and then I'll polish it off and we'll see how it looks. So there we are, you can see all the paintwork's hazy where the wax is drying. All you do is you give it a few minutes, you don't give it too long, you don't want it drying too much, and then you buff it off with a microfiber towel. So there's the haze. I forgot the mudguard. I'm going to start buffing it off now. If some of it has set already, then you just put a bit more on and you buff it straight off, that loosens it up. Let's see how shiny this comes out. So here we are. So it's had a coat of wax now. The really annoying thing about the wax is it accentuates the bad on the tank. However, the rest of the panels are good, they're good enough. Good shine. Side panels are actually much better than I originally thought, they shine well. I think because the indicator was off and stuff like that, it didn't look too great. I need to put a bolt in there. Again, it accentuates all the bad stuff, but it's got a nice shine to it. Front panel's fine, this side panel's absolutely fine. This rear panel's good. So all the panels are actually quite good. It's just the tank that lets it down. I mean, the tank's still quite shiny, but look at the imperfections. It's terrible. I think I might get a tank bagster. You know, one of the tank covers, they're leather, you strap them under. Because, yeah, otherwise the bike's just really let down by that tank. So that, I mean, that's come out not too bad at all. Looking at the bike overall, it pictures really well. It's only when you go close up and you go, look, I've got a cable tie on there, and I've actually got the right mirror coming. I've ordered that. I need to put a bolt in there and a bolt in there. I didn't even know that was missing. Someone put glue on there for no reason at all. But it's an MOT-able bike, it runs and rides quite well. Let me get it fired up, I'll warm it up. So I'm just warming it up. I've got the choke fully on. This bike takes a couple of minutes to warm up properly. You'll notice it warming up because the rev should get higher as the choke stays on. It sounds good. I'm actually starting to like the bike. I had a good thunderace years back and it was one of my favourite bikes. It was the first bike I learned how to wheelie on. It was very comfortable. So overall, you know, it's a nice bike. So it needs some choke till it's completely warm. I was trying to lower the choke, but obviously that's not working. I'll actually give it a couple of minutes at higher choke. The other thing I needed to do on this bike was find the what controls the revs. Normally it's a circle down here somewhere. It normally sticks out somewhere down here and it controls the revs, but on my journey home I couldn't find it. Shit. I may have to work out how to do that properly. I can't. It normally sticks out somewhere down here. I'll have to look online. But yeah, alright, I'm going to warm this bike up properly, maybe take it for a quick spin. So I can hear the petrol pump working away. I'm just going to nip back off the tank and make sure there's no leaks, and make sure it's all kind of routed properly, because yeah, it doesn't seem right at the moment. So you have to be careful with the routing of the fuel lines. I think they were kinked up there and that stopped the flow. So I've left the tank loose now. I'm not going to bolt it up until the bike warms up and appears to be normal. I think it's already sounding better because it's picking up revs. I should be able to shut the choke off soon, and it should continue to keep running. Sounds much better. So yeah, when you put the tank back down, make sure you're not squashing or kinking any of the fuel lines, which is what was happening there. I've loosened them all up now and it's running fine. So sorry about the noise. I'm warming the bike up and I'm also testing the grips. They're on 75%. I'm going to make sure they work and they warm up. Hopefully I'll claw back some money if it's got something. Like I said, this bike takes a couple of minutes to really warm up properly. Ideally, you know, you sit like this for a minute or two and then you ride it and it warms up along the way. I mean, it sounds amazing. Listen to this exhaust. Remember, the only thing left is this mirror, and I've got that ordered, but it is Christmas, so that might be a little while. Yeah, I'm going to take the bike for a spin. Wow, guys, I don't know if the filter was bunged up too much, but it's riding so well, so well. It's very, very fast, very fast. So that's great news. Everything's working. Is that still? Yep, good. The rear brake's a bit too weak for my liking. I'm going to try and get a bit more air out. I'm going to see if I can squeeze a bit more air out of the valves. So I'm going to try that and see if that works. It might just have a little bit of air in there. So I'm going to give that a quick go now, but my god, this bike drives so well. The exhaust isn't actually throwing up an issue at all. Tiny bit tiny bit weak on the low end. Well, it's not even weak, just not as smooth on the lower end, but put some revs in and it's beautiful. So yeah, I'm just going to try and get a little bit more pressure from the rear brake by seeing if any more air comes out, and then I'm going to leave it alone. If I can get it a little bit stiffer, this bike will be sorted and ready to go. I'm very pleased at this stage. So we're getting there, guys. Back brake's much better. I just took it out. All I did was, there's a nipple there and one on the other side. I pumped the brake 10 to 12 times and then held it down and loosened one of the nipples. So that's it for this one, guys. I have no idea how it's been put back on track so quickly, but it is. We straightened out the front suspension, we sorted the rear brake, we've cleaned it all up, we've waxed it, we've made everything safe, we've tightened up down here. All this was loose and hanging off, it just needed tightening up. I've put a bit of rubber on there to make it slightly more comfortable. The chain's in good condition, it's actually clean and greased, it doesn't need doing. Clutch is good, it works well. Tyres are in good condition. Exhaust is great. Air filter's been cleaned. It's practically got new oil because it needed a litre in it. It doesn't overheat, it cools down, the cooling system's working. And that's it really. I've got this this mirror coming that will just secure the front. The front's a bit wobbly at the moment, that will pull it all together. And I'll do something here, I don't know what. I have to let it dry and then sand it down. I could just put a bit of blue over that, but I might buy a cheap Bagster tank cover because it's the only part that really lets the bike down. And actually, I'm really surprised I'm going to say this because it's like 3 days later, but I no longer hate this bike. It drives beautifully, absolutely beautifully. It's full of power. I wouldn't be surprised if it had been dyno tuned to suit the exhaust system and lack of exup valve, because it's the best running bike I've ran without an exup valve. And I've done an Yzf1000 and I've had a thunderace, one of these in the past as well, and I've tried with and without exup valves, and normally without they're extremely horrible to ride, and this one isn't. This is smooth and runs well. So that's it for this project. I'm very pleased. I've still got to do the whole logbook thing. I've got to send off for it. That's normally 4 to 6 weeks, so this one's going to be in storage for that long. But do you know what? It's come out much nicer than I thought, and it deserves to be back on the road safely, and somebody's going to get an absolute bargain on this one. If anyone likes this bike and wants to take it now, almost, you can have it for 900. That makes me £50 profit, a bit less actually, after travel and everything else. It's got a month's MOT left on it, so you can still ride it away. It is safe, it is rideable, it runs well. Otherwise, if you hang around for the 4 to 6 weeks, I'll put an MOT on it and it will have the logbook, and it will be going for around 1,000 or 1,100. So yeah, let me know. As always, any comments? I really like getting comments. I really like chatting to people. I'm always interested in other people's pages and projects. People are always welcome to come and meet me and visit me and help with the bikes. If they've got their own, I'm always willing to help them fix theirs, and so on.